It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. We're back with another brand new episode of the Kicking Out Podcast. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-host Paul Zartman. Paul, what a heck of a dynamite we just witnessed. Blood and guts lived up to
Wow.
the expectations, probably exceeded the expectations in some standpoints.
Yeah, blood, guts, and butts. That seemed to be the theme for tonight's show.
Yeah, at least that was blurred.
Yes.
But
Yeah, the first time.
the first time, you're right. A lot of tight pulling tonight going on, but what
Yeah.
a show, what a card. Good card coming up next week. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
what a build up to this event. You know, we were supposed to get Blood and Guts last year from New Jersey. It was going to be the Inner Circle versus the Elite, and it was worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, in my opinion, I enjoyed the stampede, the stadium stampede with the Inner Circle and the Elite. I think the Pinnacle Inner Circle was a much better blood and guts than I think we would have gotten with the Elite.
I agree. Two more aggressive teams.
Yeah.
I think a lot of blood. I told you before the match I thought all 10 guys would get busted open. I don't think all 10 got busted open. I think 7 or 8 of them did.
Spears, I don't think did. And then Wardlow and Hager, I think, were the only other two.
I couldn't tell if Santana or Ortiz, I didn't think they did either. They
Uh,
said their paint.
Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Everybody had blood on them, whether it was their own or somebody else's.
But Sammy, Jericho, FTR, and MGF definitely all got busted open.
I was surprised with MJF last time he got busted open. That was a pathetic job, but
There was no pathetic
no,
bleeds tonight.
no, that's for sure.
We even got Cody Rhodes bleeding, what's a big Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes match without Cody bleeding?
What's a big Rhodes match without a Rhodes bleeding?
That's a good point. Good point. So we got a lot to break down from tonight's episode, but first let's go ahead and get into this week's Being the Elite. It was episode 254 titled Trick Shot. It opened up with the Young Bucks showing off their ring gear from last week's Dynamite. They got close-up shots of their Nike Jordan 11 Adapts. The two were taking some pictures. Shoe game strong like it is every week for the Bucks.
Yeah,
Then we see Nick looking for a basketball that got stuck above some ceiling panels and he can't find it. He installed a mini hoop, lost the ball up there, couldn't find it. Insulation's coming down, getting in his eyes. We then see the two brothers make their way for another photo shoot, and they're talking about their ring gear. They say some of the other people don't quite get their look and mention how hot it is in Jacksonville. Nick says people are probably saying they wish they looked as cool as the Young Bucks.
yeah. And nice shout out to Bret Hart, an old commercial he did. I wouldn't mind seeing the Young Bucks do a revamp of that commercial.
Hey, Brett! That commercial from the 90s
Yep.
of the kid and Brett. Yeah, iconic.
Yes.
Always have to love a shout out to the Hitman.
Oh, absolutely.
Then we see Dark Order in their hangout. The group's cheering off Tin after his AEW TNT title loss to Darby Allin last week. Tin says it's the biggest match of his career that he's lost, and his mask is ruined now. The group all talks about things they've lost. Stu Grayson starts bugging out again about a girl sitting up on the chair, but there actually is one this time. Tay Conti waves at the group and reminds them that she lost her title match too. Colt Cabana realizes they are probably losing BTE viewers right this second since Hangman Page isn't with them. They decide to go look for John Silver and start looking inside everything in the room trying to find him.
Yeah, I I was going to do a Colt Cabana and just sit here and rub my eye for the whole Dark Order bit, but I figured that would be a little too excessive.
I would have gave it an A for effort.
I couldn't pull it off the way he did though.
No, very few can.
Yeah,
Then we saw some trick shots from Nick Jackson. He throws a ball up on his roof. It rolls down through the net of a toy basketball hoop as his kids cheer. Pretty cool. I wonder how many takes that took him.
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
Oh, I will. Then we see Ryan Nemeth trying to help JD Drake put his jacket on, but too small. Apparently, it was Peter Avalon's jacket. They try to go find him and hear some people talking nearby. It sounds a bit erotic, I guess you could say. Then they see Avalon and Caesar Bononi nearby, and Avalon is just trimming Bononi's mustache. And Ryan Nemeth says, "Man, I got to grow a mustache."
You know, I didn't realize how much he looked like his brother until this week's BTE.
Quite a bit.
Good Lord.
Quite a bit.
And I think that was his brother's shirt he was wearing too, just so we're on the same page here.
I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't surprise me. Then we see the Elite hanging out in their limo last week on one of the Dynamite segments. Matt said he'd like to move forward and avoid doing the too sweet hand gesture. Instead, do the Elite 3-finger hand gesture. Gallows and Anderson are trying it with each other, and they're trying to learn how to do it properly. And of course, they're doing it all in sexual ways. Gallows makes a joke about his hat, and Matt tells Cutler to cut the camera.
Yeah,
man.
Leave it to the Good Brothers to not be so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's they about cracked Matt a few times during that bit.
Yes. That was a good little bit, though.
We then see Stu Grayson finds Cutler and asks him to go with him on an adventure. He wants to hunt down the girl from last week that he knows exists. Grayson sees Anna Jay at a distance and runs over to her. When he turns her around, it's actually Powerhouse Hobbs. Grayson runs away from him as Powerhouse Hobbs chases him. Stu might be the best thing going on BTE right now.
Yeah, this hunt for this missing woman is absolutely fantastic. And the fact that we get to see just a glimpse of her every single week makes it that much better.
Yep. I'm really interested in seeing where this is going to go.
Yeah.
We then see Nyla Rose and Ryzen bump into Benoni and Avalon in the hallway. They ask about a donation, but the guys decide to pass, saying, Peter just came back. He just returned. Nyla Rose starts acting really strange, starts acting like she's being possessed. Ryzen says she can see their future. During all of this, Vicky Guerrero's hands come up from Ryzen's clothes and steals Peter Avalon's phone, and she tries to take something from Benoni, but he smacks her hand away. The group heads off, and then Peter realizes they took his phone. I just watched this bit, and I'm like, what is going on here? I don't understand.
It goes back to eating too many Blue Chews.
Yeah.
That was his big idea.
Yeah.
And that really showed with the position of Vicky's hand, but it just felt creepy.
Yeah, it did. It was, I don't enjoy the church merch stuff.
No.
I mean,
no.
It's got to be a regular bit, it looks like, every week, but I'm not a fan of it, at least right now.
It could all change next week. We never know.
All it takes is one good bit.
Yep.
And backstage, we get the Young Bucks showing off their expensive Adapt sneakers that feature laces that automatically tighten. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I did. I mean, I heard.
Side.
Yeah.
All of this is controlled by an app, which takes a while to work. Matt and Nick are about to go out and wrestle, and even though Matt said he charged his phone all day, his phone's about to die. It's on low battery. Maybe the shoe's on low battery. I'm not sure.
Lose the shoes, yeah.
He's worried he may lose them during the shoot because they were really loose. I'm thinking TK is probably thinking, oh my God, guys, like why? What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. The left shoe was at like 16%, and the right shoe is at like 60 something. So,
man, I can't imagine. But
no, I bet TK says no more self-timed shoes.
Yeah. But I mean that's cool. A cool technology.
Yeah,
out there.
absolutely.
I didn't even know that existed. Then we see Matt Jackson close the show, hitting another basketball trick shot, and he did it on a slipping slide this time.
Yeah, I like that part. You know, good job, Dad. It's because I'm the best dad ever, or best dad in the world, or whatever it was.
You know, I enjoy the heel Bucks because, I mean, we're both fans of the Bucks, of course, and we're going to be, even though they're heels, but they are, exactly, they are so easy to dislike, though. They're characters.
Yes.
I mean, they're just, like, tonight, when we get to talking about tonight, is like, oh my God, like, part of me kind of wants them to drop the titles coming up soon, but that's...
Well, if they drop the tag titles, I've got a belt that says "World's Greatest Dad," so I might have to challenge Nick to a match and say, "Look, Nick, I'll put it on the line. If you beat me, you get the belt."
I would pay money to see you take a super kick from Nick Jackson.
I would pay money to take a super kick from Nick Jackson.
Let's set that up. Let's contact who we need to contact and get that going.
Right. So, yeah.
But let's get into tonight's AEW Dynamite. Of course, it's from Daly's Place. I want to say it was live, but it was kind of a hybrid, half and half live, half and half taped. Of course, the structure of the Blood and Guts match takes 2 rings and a cage. They didn't want to move the cage up and down or in and out, however it was constructed.
Yeah.
So what they did was they taped the other previous matches. I don't know if it was this week or sometime last week, but the rings were together, which was a nice little I don't know, little I don't even
Way
know
to
what you
keep
want to
it
say. Yeah, way to keep it
there.
going like it is live.
Yeah.
But like Twitter, it was shown from people there. They were showing the matches up on the screen, but all the audio was from the live crowd tonight. The crowd was
Yeah.
hot all night tonight. And the live, it was also, I saw mentioned on Twitter from somebody there that the bit with Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Darby was live, which I wouldn't have guessed. I would have thought that was shot
No.
last week,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
But,
that's actually something nice, way to keep that hybrid feeling going is have a few live spots, even though half your show's taped.
yeah. So yeah, it was a live crowd tonight, the biggest crowd they've had since the start of the pandemic. TK mentioned today on Busted Open it was about a little over 40%, so about 1,500 people or so. And he also said on Busted Open that it's going to be full capacity at Double or
Yes.
Nothing at Daly's Place come May 30th, Memorial Day weekend. That's Sunday, so it's going to be a good time. It'll be great to get back to full crowds and start getting back to some normalcy.
Yeah, there was a pretty large crowd tonight, though. I
Yeah, they were
noticed
hot.
that.
They were loud.
Yeah,
It was fun.
absolutely.
The show kicked off tonight. We saw AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and MT Nakazawa, as he's called now, with Don Callis versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Callis cut off Justin Roberts, and he wanted to do his own announcement of Omega, but Callis says Omega isn't here tonight. A commentary saying they literally saw Omega backstage, so he's lying. Callis announces Nakazawa's got to wrestle Kingston and Moxley on his own. The duo make their way through the stands, but then Kenny blindsides them and attacks them with the title. So the match ends up starting. This match went about 12 minutes. JR was wondering at one time if it was a tornado tag match because the referee seemed to have lost control of things. JR likes to always point that stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
We see Nakazawa hit a low blow on Kingston while the ref tries to break up Omega and Moxley at one point. A lot of shots back and forth. Finally, towards the end of the match, Omega broke up a pin. Then Kingston tossed him out to the floor. Omega can't get back in the ring. Kingston's literally holding the ropes for him, inviting him to come back in the ring. But Omega pretty much says, screw it, and goes backstage, and Moxley's choking out Nakazawa. And then they hit him with a lariat half and half suplex combo for the 1-2-3. And then post-match, we see the Young Bucks coming out in some Hawaiian-looking gear. And I saw Mrs. Matt tweet that Matt, vacation's not for another couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then while they're distracting them, the Good Brothers attack Kingston and Moxley from behind, hit the Magic Killer. Matt smashes Moxley with his sneaker and then super kicks him. Hits another super kick on Kingston. That one's from Nick Jackson. Brandon Cutler's out. Comes out with Omega on the stage. Kenny gets in the ring, talks to the camera for a moment, then hits a one-winged angel on Eddie Kingston. And Nick Jackson does a mocking 1-2-3 count, a lot more taunting.
Yeah, and normally I'm the one who catches the little things, and you caught a little detail this week that I missed.
Yeah, I caught. They gave a flash of Nick one time. Like, that looked like he had silver in his nose. And then the Young Bucks tweeted later on in the match, new bio out, and there's something like, check out Nick's new bling. And then Nick even put it on Instagram. He's got a bull ring in his nose. I don't know if it's real or fake.
I'm betting it's one of those little fake ones that
Yeah.
you just shove up there and
Probably.
call it a day.
Probably. So, but yeah, the Bucks are they're full gimmick.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get to catch much of the match, but I did
Didn't
catch the
miss a whole
post
lot,
match.
really.
And
It went on longer than I thought it would, to be honest, because with Nakazawa involved. But you didn't miss a lot. The post match was the important thing.
yeah,
I think this is leading to Young Bucks versus Mox and Kingston for the tag titles at Double or Nothing.
I'll agree with you on that one. I think we see them retain until Double or Nothing, and I'm still torn though. I don't know if the Bucks drop the belts at Double or Nothing, but they've done crazier things.
Or if they don't want to split up SCU next week, which, spoiler alert, I guess, for later on in the recap
I was
of the show,
trying to avoid that one.
I worked myself into the corner there. So I worked myself right into a shoot. I mean, I guess they could put the titles on SCU, and then we could still get a tag match in some kind of stipulation or some kind of specialty match between Moxley and Kingston versus the Bucks at Double or Nothing, just without the titles on the line.
I'd still be okay with that. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
I just think we're gonna get those four in a match. I mean, just the way the Bucks came out, how that camera was shooting that, just made a lot of sense. And with the stories the last few weeks leading up to tonight.
Yep.
So,
We'll find out probably next week for sure.
yeah, the road definitely started tonight for Double or Nothing. Actually, probably started last week, but we are finally getting some matches announced. Like, for instance, AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida is going to be defending against Britt Baker at Double or Nothing on May 30th. Something you and I have been speculating for months.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all kind of know what the result of that match is going to be, but you never
Yeah.
know, I guess.
We'll put it in our predictions and see who wins.
Yep. We got to start thinking about predictions a few weeks out.
Yep.
We then saw a rivalry that's finally come to head. It's been building for a while. QT Marshall, or I heard him on a podcast today. He's still saying it's Marshall. The announcers are saying Marshall, so I'll say QT Marshall is out with the factory against Cody Rhodes, who's out with his manager Arn Anderson. Fun match here.
Yeah.
I gotta say, QT might be the most improved guy in the ring since the start of Dynamite.
Yeah. I'd say since the start of AEW, honestly.
Because he's went from Cody's friend to a pretty good in-ring worker.
I remember watching all the BTEs leading up to AEW being a thing. QT just stood in the background and ate an apple. And that's all he did. And you're like, why is this guy here? What is the point? They never really mentioned him. They didn't do much. He just ate an apple. And then it was, hey, QT, have an apple, or, something like that. And now he's talked about all over the place.
Yeah, so I remember Jericho knocking him out on one of the Road 2s. So, yeah. But he's more than just Cody's friend now. So.
That's for sure.
Cody did come out to his theme song still with Snoop Dogg in it. I was hoping we'd get his old theme song without Snoop, but I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon, Paul.
No, sadly, I don't think so. I'd be okay even without the prelude section if he went back to the original. And just get rid of the Snoop Dogg part. It doesn't. It was nice during the Go Big show, but now you don't need it.
Maybe when at Double or Nothing when they have full capacity, because I feel like the crowd likes to sing that song. It's probably number 2 behind Judas, or probably number 3 behind Judas and Jungle Boy's song.
Now that Jungle Boy's got a new one.
Exactly. And you can't really sing because when it gets to that rap part, it's hard to follow along.
It just destroys it.
So a lot of action in this match, a lot of back and forth. We did see one segment during this match that Arn Anderson got tossed from ringside because he was going at it with QT Marshall. They were brawling on the outside. He was grinding Marshall's face into the ring post, which I know a lot of people was like, this doesn't cause a disqualification. Well, AEW's pretty much stated there's really not going to be too many disqualifications ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there hasn't been too many. I can't even really remember one since October 2019. So, I kind of have given up on that. But we saw a lot of back and forth. We saw Cody hit a top rope moonsault for a 2 count. We saw Cody go for a Cody cutter but got caught in midair, and then QT hit a crossroads for a close 2 count. Then QT looked for a diamond cutter but didn't get it. Tried for a power bomb that had a reset. Then he hit a buckle bomb. He goes for a tombstone pile driver. Cody reverses that. Cody's going for it. QT reverses that. Then Cody reverses it and hits the tombstone, but only gets a 2 count, which I was like, oh man, they're going to use Undertaker's finisher and not have it finish off the opponent. Then we saw Cody duck a punch. He hit a crossroads, only for a 2 count. I'm like, man, what is it going to take to get QT down?
Exactly.
I think that was kind of the story of the match. Like, QT just was resilient. Cody was confused, and the crowd started chanting, QT sucks. Cody helps him up. It's still kind of looking like this is still my friend deep down. I'm gonna help him up. QT flips him off. Cody gets fired up, gets him into figure four. QT finally taps, and then we see that Cody's got a cut on his eye that he must have endured at some point at the end of the match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not still sure where that came from. He went into a move, was fine, came out bloodied, and I'm like, Cody was the aggressor. How did this happen?
Yeah, it was definitely not a blade job. It was a
No.
cut by his eye. He must have
Yeah,
hit something. So,
yeah, probably hit his own gear somehow and did it himself.
but I liked the storytelling of Cody still trying to help his friend up, and then his friend flips him off. Said, "Okay, a few weeks ago when we had the exhibition, I was gonna let go. I wasn't gonna break your leg tonight. I'm gonna try to break your leg."
Absolutely.
And have you noticed? I thought about tonight. This is the third different storyline we've seen of Cody having a good friend betray him. Sean Spears, MJF,
Yep.
and now
Yep.
QT Marshall.
And if you watch Sammy's vlog last week, he even references that with Fuego del Sol.
Mm-hmm.
He makes him think he's got a whole big contract in there. And it's like, look, every friend I've brought in here has turned his back on me.
Yep.
So I think Fuego will get a contract at some point and he'll do the same thing to Cody.
Yeah, I don't think he's big enough to be on Dynamite though. I mean, I know
No.
he's got a good following on Sammy's vlog and he's on Dark, but yeah, for the every week Dynamite audience, I don't think a lot of people would know who he is, but
No.
I think he'll get a contract eventually too.
Oh, yeah.
Post match, we saw Anthony Ogogo head out to the ring and he punches Cody right in the midsection, sent him down on the mat, and then he covers him up with a British flag. We're going to get an announcement from Cody next week about his match at Double or Nothing. Got to think it's Ogogo versus Cody, right?
Oh, absolutely. I knew that punch was coming at some point. I figured it was going to help QT win this match. So kind of threw me off when Cody actually won. But I was still glad to see the punch brought in because, I mean, that's been the big focus here the last few weeks is that punch that Ogogo has.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we talked about a few weeks ago. I was saying maybe he goes against Ogogo. You're like, I don't think he's ready for a pay-per-view match. And I can't
I was
argue
wrong.
with that. I don't think he probably is ready, but they're going to push him hard. So.
Or it'll be, Cody says, screw this. We're doing the whole Nightmare Family versus Factory at Double or Nothing.
Could be. I still think we get Dustin against somebody with a bull rope match. For somebody from the Factory. QT maybe.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They didn't really have a payoff.
Got to find a way to injure Cody around Double or Nothing because that should be about the time frame that he takes off to go be a dad
That's
for
true.
a while.
That's true. You think back of Cody's two previous Double or Nothing matches last year. He won the TNT title against Lance Archer in the finals of the tournament, becoming the first TNT champion. Year before, he had the epic bloody brother versus brother match against Dustin. So it'll be interesting. And I often ask you what's the WrestleMania version of AEW's pay-per-views, which is still too early to tell. You can make a case for almost all of them. But I'm really starting to think it is Double or Nothing because of what TK said today. And maybe they're just doing this being the first event that's going to be full capacity. He said on Busted Open today, which Tony Khan, by the way, is on Busted Open now every Wednesday. It's a new segment they're starting. He's on there every Wednesday. So I was listening on the podcast, and he said that week, that Friday night, I don't know if he misspoke or not. I'm guessing he didn't because he knows more than I do. He said that Friday night show is going to be live on TNT. They're going to have Friday night. I'm guessing that means NBA playoffs is that week.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view. Then Saturday, they're having a fan fest. And then Sunday, it's got to be the pay-per-view. So they're kind of making it all a big weekend.
See, I'm still... that makes a good case for this being the WrestleMania for AEW. But they have their name on the building in Chicago for All Out. I mean...
A couple of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of leads me to believe that is more than anything else, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's going to be interesting because you got to think Double or Nothing 2022 will be back in Vegas. But are those two pay-per-views, Double or Nothing and All Out, stuck in Vegas and Chicago for good?
I don't know.
Because I got to think. I mean, because I don't think Full Gear is stuck in Baltimore forever.
No.
I think that.
No.
And I'm not sure about Revolution. I don't think that. Because I was kind of surprised they did 2 of the first 4 pay-per-views in Chicago.
Yeah. I think it's because they had such a big following when they went to Chicago for the first All In before AEW.
Yeah, it's a hot market for them. It is a hot wrestling market.
So I don't know. I hope they move though. I mean,
it'll
maybe
get
1 or
stale
2
after a
more
while
there
if you-
in Chicago, but
if you keep one at the same location all the time.
yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. But Double or Nothing this year is from Daly's Place, even though we'll have 5,500, which will be awesome. I wonder if they'll go back to the camera angle that they used at Daly's early in 2020 when they did the Dynamite episode. It was because they changed the whole camera angle for
They did
from the pandemic on. So,
yeah.
With a full crowd, I don't think that camera angle works. I think they got to go back to the other one, which would look really cool. It'd be different again. It'd be kind of nice.
Yeah. The first time they introduced the current camera angles they have is when Cody and the Bucks walked out and said, "Hey, we weren't expecting this either."
Yep. It was, and we've got used to it. So anything else got to look different.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it though.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
Fired
change.
up. Then we see last week Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page attacking Sting and Darby Allin after the main event. Sting's apparently out of action after Scorpio put him in the heel hook. Up in the stands, Alex Marvez is talking to Scorpio and Ethan Page. Sky says Sting is nothing more than a mosquito sucking on the blood of AEW. Sky says, we kill mosquitoes, and he lets Sting know that he's overstayed his welcome. Calls him Steve by his actual name.
Yeah.
He said he's the franchise now. Ethan Page brings up his history with Darby Allin, says they have a lot of history, but their matches are that nobody has seen. He says Allen's pain is to cover up a dent that Page put in his forehead. So is the piece of metal that he had to have put in his arm. Then Darby flies out of nowhere and smacks Ethan really hard. He throws Sky into some garbage cans. He's able to climb up onto the barricade, hits a coffin drop on Ethan Page. Scorpio Sky runs over and smacks him with the trash can, which I was laughing the entire time. Just watching him run over with the trash can was pretty funny. Ethan Page has on some like Louis Vuitton spiked boots, and Scorpio shows Darby Allin's face right on them. And then they throw Darby down the concrete steps. Medical staff eventually comes and checks on Darby as Page and Sky look on. Darby is able to make his way to the back eventually.
Yeah. To find out that this was one of the few live segments of the show, really nice. I can't wait to see what happens next week.
Yeah, they're definitely building. They're either building for Page and Sky versus Darby and Sting, or Darby and Lance.
Yes,
because Sting is out of action.
And maybe that's how we finally get the answer to why Archer's been helping out. Maybe Sting says, "Look, I'm out 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever, due to this ankle injury. I need you to take my place."
Yep, that would make sense. I mean, because I feel like they've built Lance that they got to give him something good.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought up on the promo a couple weeks ago. Keep bringing him in for good segments, taking him out, in, out. He can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
So, and he tweeted tonight, it's about time for everybody to die, and then he didn't show up for the angle tonight. So
I know. I kept, I'm looking
for him to come
through
save the day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, where's he at? He's going to come from somewhere, When you'd get a weird camera angle, I'm like, okay, here he goes. Wait, never mind.
But I had really enjoyed this segment. Darby's a star. He doesn't need that title.
Absolutely.
And we'll get to that in a bit. He doesn't need that title. And I like this team of Page and Sky. They're making them look dangerous. They're making them seem like a real threat. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they could have brought him in and had him talk a big game and then never do anything heelish. And I think their first promo together to tonight's attack has just been perfect.
Then we got a women's match, a squash match. Let's call it what it is. Britt Baker out with Rebel versus Julia Hart. And Britt pretty much dominated the match for from start to finish and won via the lockjaw submission. Britt might be the best talent in all of professional wrestling at finding the hard camera and looking at it and making great faces and reactions. She's awesome at that.
I think that'll really throw her off if they move cameras. She's going to go to do that, and she's going to be looking at the wrong spot.
Whoops. Yeah. She's just good. She's good.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. Although there's another heart in the wrestling business. That's nice to see.
Yeah, what relation is she to the family?
I don't know. All I know is they mentioned that she was from Canada.
She's
She's from Canada. Oh, most hearts are from Canada.
Yeah. That is true. She probably spent some time in the dungeon.
Probably.
I like when they do this. They haven't done this in a while. Taz breaking down Christian Cage's move set and the frog splash and the kill switch. He shows Cage having a lack of explosion from his quads to get bigger impact on the frog splash. He then critiques his kill switch finisher. We then see how Powerhouse Hobbs was able to throw Christian around in their match and get out of it. Taz also mentions how Brian Cage defeated the number one contender Hangman Page. So Christian's definitely not challenging for the title at Double or Nothing. He's got to do something against Team Taz.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's Cage versus Cage. That's what I'm starting to think.
I'm thinking so too, and I'm really hoping that Cage turns on Team Taz.
Yeah, it's interesting because they really teased that for about 3 straight weeks, and then it's been nothing for 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Unless, Brian Cage is just sitting there going, it's going to come. Why even lead on?
Well, he
Let
is
it be a
number
big
4
surprise.
in the rankings now.
Mm-hmm.
Heyman fell to 5.
I know.
Loss. I don't understand that.
That one threw me through a loop because they said, we'll get to now. I'll bring that up in a minute.
And it could be we might get a tag there. It could be Christian and Hangman versus Cage and somebody else from Team Taz.
Yeah,
or something.
I'd be okay with that.
We then get the number one contender 4-way tag team match. The winner of this match will face the Young Bucks next week. Varsity Blondes of Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. against SCU of Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian. The Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. And Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt. It's the title eliminator match. What a rap by Max Caster. And Tony Khan said, he hyped it up to the Unbusted Open, said this was his favorite rap that Max has done so far, and that it was going to get really close to the censorship lines of TNT. And it did.
It did. I had to text you and go, what did he just say?
Yep. It was pretty close to calling the Young Bucks pretty bad word, but it was funny. I did like the line about Dark Side of the Ring. I thought that was good because the episode tomorrow night on season 3 debuts about Brian Pillman, and Brian Pillman Jr. is in it. He gets interviewed a little bit, so check that out on Vice TV tomorrow if you can.
Yeah.
Should be a good one.
I'll be watching it.
This match was a good match. I gotta be honest. The picture-in-picture bothered me all night tonight. This
it was at weird points.
Blood and guts match. It really bothered me.
Yeah.
Basically, SCU got the win, which we all kind of figured after last week's promo. And they had the Varsity Blondes eat the pin, which I think is the right thing to have that happen against. So next week it'll be friends against friends. It'll be SCU's 13-0 now on the year against the Young Bucks. So that's going to be a fun one for the tag titles. And if SCU loses, they're done as a team.
So putting you on the spot, your prediction for next week?
The Bucks retain and SCU's done as a team.
Okay.
How about you? What say you?
I'm going to go SCU.
All right.
I mean, why not give CD one more title reign before he fully steps backstage? And what better than a tag title?
Yeah, that'd be Frankie's second ring.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
And it could also turn into a Page Sky SCU feud because Frankie at one point said that if it wasn't for Sky, they wouldn't have been tag champs.
Mm-hmm.
So now to win it without Sky.
Yeah, good point. It'll be interesting. It'll be a good match next week for sure.
Yeah.
It's only one of the titles that'll be on the line of 3 next week. One of the other ones is going to be the IWGP NXT U.S. Championship. John Moxley's going to be defending against Yuji Nagata. We got a nice little promo for that, and Moxley pretty much said everybody's wondering when Nagata just won't get up again, and everybody's going to learn that very soon. Who wins this match next week, Paul?
Moxley.
Think Mox keeps that title some more?
I think Mox keeps that title.
I think it's about time he loses that title and somebody from Japan gets it back, but I don't know if this guy's the right guy to do it. Could be some interference from the Elite that cost him the match.
I agree, but I don't think it'll happen on Dynamite.
Be a New Japan show.
Yep. He'll drop it over there.
I still think we're definitely going to get some New Japan Bullet Club crossover eventually.
Well, yeah, they 25% off till what, today?
That ended this morning at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. It was a 48-hour sale.
So,
which it's funny how they do that because, yes, you do save some money, but if you live outside of Chicago where you can go pick it up, they still get you on the shipping.
The shipping makes up for that.
You save about $3 instead of what looks like $12 to begin with.
Right. And it's not any cheaper for us. I mean, Chicago's like 2.5 hours away, give or
take. I'm not driving up there to get my shirt,
Exactly.
I spend my gas money to.
Yeah, we'd spent more in gas than we would have in shipping, unless you were already going to Chicago for some other reason.
Yeah, but to answer your question, Paul, I did go ahead and got my first ever Bullet Club shirt. So
you're one up on me. I do not have a Bullet Club shirt.
I got a Hangman Page Bullet Club shirt because I did not have a Hangman shirt. So I thought
twofer.
I was either him or Kenny. It was going back and forth, but the Kenny ones for some reason were $29.99 before the discount, and most of the rest were $24.99.
Kenny's got gold,
but Kenny was the top 2 sellers of the week.
Yeah,
so shows you his popularity there. So
Kenny's got gold.
Enough to talk about Pro Wrestling Tees, even though they're a great company.
Yeah.
But speaking of Kenny, we saw Tony Schiavone come out, and Kenny's coming out for a big announcement for Double or Nothing regarding his title. Omega comes out with Nakazawa and all his titles, all 4, which I saw a lot of people on Twitter just having a fit that he wasn't wearing at least one of the Impact titles, which I would be a little peeved if I was Impact.
Yeah, but I think I know why he did it, because his announcement was around the AEW title.
True.
So he wanted the focus to be on that title.
Did you see the interesting possibility with the AAA title this week?
Yes, I did.
Andrade put out a challenge. Oh, man, that match would be awesome. I hope it happens.
And I hope it happens on Dynamite.
And that would be a good opponent for Kenny to lose that title, too, because eventually he's going to have to lose all these titles.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's let him keep him for, a couple months and then drop something.
Yeah.
I mean, how often is he defending the AAA?
Oh, rare. I mean, rarely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's get through Double or Nothing, and then let's let Andrade beat him for the belt. I'm okay with that.
Yep. But they're talking about next week's match between the number 1 and number 2 ranked guys, Orange Cassidy and Pac. Talk about how Pac's already beat Omega once. And Omega's coming to conclusions that Pac's going to be the guy he goes against. He's not even really acknowledging Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy comes out on stage for a big pop. I mean, the crowd's chant freshly squeezed really, really loud. Pretty much the rest of the promo was a lot of trash talk from Omega towards Cassidy. He even takes his Ray-Bans and puts them on Nakazawa, said they look better on Nak. He tells Cassidy that maybe in 10 years, when Cassidy becomes a full-grown man, maybe we'll see him in the ring. Omega heads off with Orange standing there looking annoyed. So what say you, Paul, next week? Who wins and becomes the number 1 contender to face Omega at Double or Nothing? Is it Pac or is it Orange?
Well, I was going for Pac, but you convinced me to change my mind. So I'm going Orange.
I think you're right.
I don't think he'll win the title, but
if that's the case, that's going to headline Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Omega versus Orange Cassidy, which I think could be a great match, but I don't. But I will say, I thought, I don't know if Orange is ready. He doesn't need the title, but in front of 5,500, you heard how over he is tonight. Even in a losing effort, that crowd's going to be hot for Orange. that night.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what they're thinking.
And my thought on it is, look at the match he put on with Jericho.
Yep. All three of them.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Kenny underestimates Orange. I mean,
I think it would be a heck of a match when Kenny pulls out at the end. Maybe not the cleanest way.
oh yeah,
But
yeah. No. Kenny would not be dropping the title to Orange right now.
No, too hot.
Yeah.
But yep, I agree with you. I think Orange wins next week, but it's gonna be interesting. Should be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that match. Revolution 2020, Pac against Orange.
Yes.
Orange first man. That was a heck of a match.
It was.
So
it was.
So,
although,
well, go ahead.
That would mean that Orange would have to actually beat Pac this time.
Yes. Well, he's got a little better since then. He's beat some quality opponents.
Yeah, he's one of those improved guys.
Yes. Then right before Blood and Guts, we saw Miro head out to the stage, speak with Tony Schiavone. Miro just takes away the mic and says nobody's going to distract him from his destiny. He says if someone has a title, they have a problem. Miro pulls out a signed contract. Says 7 days from tonight, he's coming for the AEW TNT champion Darby Allin on next week's Dynamite. Miro says next week the world finds out when the mind who doesn't mind dying meets the man who doesn't mind killing him.
Yeah, I thought Miro delivered a really solid promo until that last line, when the man who doesn't mind dying meets the man who doesn't mind killing him. It lost me.
Well, Darby, is fearless, doesn't care about his body, and how they've built Darby up is, he's almost lost the title every week. He keeps finding ways to pull it out. What's it going to take to beat him? Miro. Miro's what it takes. Miro is the new TNT champion come next week in the main event, I think.
We don't often agree about title changes, but I agree with you on this one.
It's time, and he's the right person to put it on, make him a beast TNT champion, a heel beast TNT champ, and Darby doesn't need the title anymore.
No.
He's a star. They've accomplished what they wanted with him. It's Miro's time. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we haven't had a heel TNT champion since Brody.
Correct.
And he was a monster.
And he was only champion for 5 weeks.
Because he was starting to get sick, and he knew it. And not to the full extent he expected, but he knew something was up.
Not necessarily. They really just did it because Cody was off TV taping. When Cody came back, they did a dog collar match. There was supposed to be more of a payoff. Then Brody got sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Brody was supposed to win it back at some point. But again, he got sick.
Yeah. I think there was supposed to be more at Full Gear, and we never got it. So.
Right. So it's time for Miro to step up and finish what Brody couldn't.
Yep. Next week on Dynamite, big card, we're going to get Tony Schiavone interviewing Jade Cargill. Got Jon Moxley defending the IWGP US Championship against Yuji Nagata. Young Bucks defending their tag team titles against SCU. Cody Rhodes making his double or nothing announcement. And Darby defending the TNT Championship against Miro. Fun card.
Solid card. I'm looking forward to it.
And then it was the last hour.
Chaos.
It was chaos. It was the pinnacle. MJF, Sean Spears, Wardlow, and FTR with Tully Blanchard against the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz in the Blood and Guts match. 2 rings surrounded by a big cage with an enclosed roof on it.
Yes.
Don't even know where to start, what to cover here, because there was so much awesome action.
Don't shoot me for the pun here, but this was total nonstop action.
It was start to finish. Sammy started the match against Dax Harwood. He busted. I called it. Told you Dax
yes, you
the first
did.
To bleed.
Yes. I thought it was going to be Sammy. I figured in the 2-on-1 moment, Sammy would get busted open. Dax got busted open quick.
About 10 seconds left on the countdown before Spears came in. Spears came in, hit Sammy with a headshot. Kind of a more safe one than he hit Cody with, though. It was kind of to the side, but still hit him with the headshot.
Every shot's been safe compared to what he gave Cody.
Yeah, that lip of the chair. They're not trying that again. They got some bad PR from that. A cool chair, though, designed with the chairman logo on the back. So those two were going at it. Then we saw Ortiz come in, equal the odds, came in with the chair. Then we saw Cash Wheeler come in. Of course, FTR started hitting them with combo tag team moves. We saw Sammy pull out some crazy moves tonight. Told you he'd hit the craziest
Oh,
move.
yeah.
I mean, he had a couple. I don't even know how to explain what he did on the rope. There was some sloppiness during this match because you could tell the ropes were getting bloody and sweaty. And saw a couple people kind of fall on botches and just.
Yeah.
But I loved it. That's what makes this match blood and guts. I mean, it was just
Oh,
high
yeah.
intensity. It's not going to be clean. It's going to be dirty and nasty and
And the
everything.
fact that Sammy pulled off that coast to coast so smoothly,
Sammy
that
greater
far
than Shane
in,
O'Mac.
exactly, that far into the match
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already getting worn out,
Oh.
and I just seeing him climb up there, I'm like, he's not gonna make it all the way
No,
across.
I thought he'd come up a little short.
Yeah, and he made it.
Yep. He's a freak athlete. The kid's
Yes.
going to be a stupid superstar. And, I think everybody shined pretty good in this match, but Sammy, I thought, shined maybe a little brighter than everybody else.
Yeah, I will hope somebody has checked on Jake because I'm afraid he injured his groin with that split he did as he was trying to hit a move on Wardlow at one point and just slid on the mat.
Well, there was one point early in the match I thought Spears hurt his knee. Spears was
Mm-hmm.
limping around for a while, but then I think it was just, I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe just had a pull or something.
carnage.
But I mean, everybody's going to be feeling the effects of that for a while.
Yeah, this
But
shortened some careers, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the third member to come in was Santana, and then we saw Wardlow come in, but he came in there picture in picture, which drove me nuts because then we saw with Santana, Ortiz, and Sammy all trying to attack him at once. Then we saw Hager. We knew those two were going to come in at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Hager's beating up the Pinnacle, and then those two face off, start throwing blows. Then MJF came in, and then Jericho finally came in, and then both teams go to one ring each, meet in the middle, which was fun. That was funny because Wardlow and Hager tried to jump over the ropes, and they couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But it was chaos. It was awesome. We saw the ring during picture-in-picture again. The ring get brought up to the plywood. We saw a turnbuckle get ripped out. Chairs everywhere. Fork. A little shout to Abdullah the Butcher. Santana used a fork on MJF twice. Baseball bat Floyd got in there. Everybody was getting busted open. Also in picture-in-picture, Tully Blanchard takes out Bryce Remsburger, has the key, opens up the door, so MJF goes up the scaffolding. Chris Jericho's trying to get out. Tully's trying to keep him in there. Chris Jericho throws the cage door open. He goes up there, but Chris knows they're on picture-in-picture. So he climbs up there, kind of halfway, waits,
Yeah,
smiles,
he was
the camera, pumping up the crowd. I was nervous about him going up there because Chris is probably the most least athletic guy in this match. He's the oldest. He's sweaty. He's tired. I'm like, just don't fall going up there.
He was, overlapping
Yeah, he was.
each time. I'm like, he's making sure one way or the other he's not falling down.
Took a sweet time. He got up there on top of the cage. Him and MJF are brawling, and really they just showed them the whole time, even though commentary kept saying, stuff can happen down here on the bottom of the rings too, because it was the first team that submitted or surrendered.
Yeah.
That's the rules. This was different than NXT War Games, which is pinfalls and all that. This was classic War Games.
Yep.
And Jericho gets MJF in the walls of Jericho one time. Looks like MJF's going to tap, and MJF hits him with a low blow with his left hand. Gets him in the soul of the earth. Keeps working on the arm. Steps on his hand. Kicks his arm. Bites his arm. Keeps getting him in that. Then Jericho gets out of that. Then MJF looks over and gets the idea of maybe throwing him off the cage. Looks like he's going to throw him off, and he yells down to the inner circle, surrender, or I'm throwing him off. Finally, Sammy says, we surrender, as they're all trying to make their way up the cage. Then MJF ends up throwing Jericho off the cage into what you described as some plywood.
Yeah. That was the first angle when it happened was the best angle in my opinion, because you couldn't see the pad underneath. You couldn't see the plywood. It looked okay. You knew this wasn't exactly concrete and metal like they were describing, but it still hurt.
Yes.
And then all the replays just kind of took away from that.
Yeah. And I should mention, Jericho got busted open on top of the cage from the diamond ring punch from MJF.
Yes, which
mention.
hopefully he doesn't win again next year.
Yeah, kind of part of his thing though. But we'll see what comes out of this. I definitely don't think it's the last of this rivalry, but I think they should keep Jericho off TV for a while.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they have to, because I think Jericho heads off for a Fozzy tour in the next week or two.
Is it start already? I knew it started sometime this year.
Yeah, because it was June or July. He's going to be either in Chicago or Indy. Okay. So I know he's going to be close by pretty quickly.
Yeah,
so.
I know though, there was a point before the pandemic when we thought he was going to be leaving for a tour, and they never did.
Right.
And that wasn't because of the pandemic. It was just he never did. So.
Yeah, because he never had any shows on Wednesday night, so he just flew to wherever they were, and the shows and the tour kind of were pretty close to each other. I think done on purpose, but I don't know. Yeah, keep him off.
We did see MJF say thank you, yell down thank you to Chris Jericho, which he said he was going to do. So he's the top heel. He's one of the top guys in the company.
For now.
They did do a great job of the shots with MJF, even if the finish wasn't the best. The shots of him were really good.
My biggest complaint, Sammy lost the Stadium Stampede. Now he's the one that's going to go down for losing blood and guts. Don't do that to the poor kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had Hager, who's never even wrestling anymore. Why didn't he call it?
Because he can't talk.
Well,
and Santana Ortiz don't speak they speak fine English, but that's probably why though. I mean, Sammy's the easiest to understand out of the four.
Yeah, but
the loudest voice and the most vocal.
Jake could have at least said quit.
Yeah. I mean, the others were kind of waving their arms, so I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but I hope we get one of these matches every year. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh,
NXT
absolutely.
does War Games every year, so.
Yeah. And I think, last year it was quoted as the first ever Blood and Guts, which kind of made you feel like there were going to be more.
Yep.
So maybe it's going to be a future event.
Yeah, it could be. They could.
Right before Double or Nothing every year.
Yeah, I like it being a part of a special Dynamite. I don't want it to be its own pay-per-view. I like keeping the 4 pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
Including Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen and all those too. So, but no, fun episode.
Yeah.
Great grading time.
I'm giving it an A. I don't follow Twitter while I'm watching the show, so I had no clue until you told me that the first half was pre-taped matches, because it seemed, they had the live logo, which they never do for their taped stuff. It felt live compared to their more taped stuff.
One thing that also kind of gave it away how the first show was taped was the camera angles they were using. You could definitely tell it was darker outside than it should have been.
True.
And because they weren't cutting those angles, you would usually see kind of the background.
Right.
In the sky.
Yeah.
But I'm going to agree with you, an A. I almost gave it an A+. Just the finish, we've seen worse finishes. We have. But the finish, and one thing they didn't
no
really
sparklers.
Right before no sparklers at least. Before the finish happened, I don't think they meant to capture this on camera. But MJF and Jericho were talking to each other, and the camera caught that.
Yeah.
So you knew something was going to happen. I'm like, I hate when they accidentally do that, because it kind of just ruins the moment.
At that point, I knew he was going through.
Yeah, we all know he was still going over, but
if anything, when MJF leaned over, he should have done it like he was, smack talking, not just to lean over and then
could literally
come back
see them
up.
talking to each other like on his knees. I'm like, oh, well, that was just a botch camera. I mean, wasn't supposed to happen. It's like one of the War Games in the early '90s when Sid Vicious had one of the Steiners in the corner. I think it was Scott Steiner, and he was gonna hip toss him or Irish whip him to the other side, and the camera accidentally was like right there. like this close, and you could hear Sid Vicious go, "You ready, buddy? Okay, here we go." And that got caught. It got huge heat because at the time that stuff didn't fly in the early
Right.
'90s, and Sid being Sid. But
Yeah.
but no, yeah, I agree. It was a fun show. Lived up to expectations. I loved it. I think it does the highest rating easily the Dynamite's ever done.
Oh, I hope so. Good Lord.
Build from here through Double or Nothing. Time to
Yep.
get the shows going again. And TK said they'll be touring sooner than people expect, but I still think that means July. Maybe June. Maybe June.
Mid-June.
Maybe June.
Mid-June. So, New York City says they're opening up to 100% in June. So,
I thought it was July.
is it?
I thought both July for Chicago and in New York.
I don't remember what I said
did
this
see
morning.
A few MLB teams came out and said if they get approval from their local health departments, they're opening up full capacity. So
Okay.
things are starting to open up as people are getting vaccinations. So, wrestler of the night for you, or wrestler of the week.
MJF. Because he actually bled. No, I mean he did good. He did good. That was one of his best performances. I was excited. I mean, I wanted Inner Circle to win this because I'm a Jericho fan. I'm a Sammy fan.
Oh, I was rooting for Inner Circle. I think
But
mostly everybody was.
I knew Pinnacle was going to win it. I
It
just
makes
wasn't
the most
sure
sense.
how.
It's best for business. It's going to be the year of the Pinnacle. Let's be honest.
And like I said, MJF, one of the best performances he's given that I can recall.
I was going to go MGF as well, but I'm going to cheat and say the Pinnacle as a unit.
Ooh, okay. Because
Winning
of the
team,
victory.
they all contributed to the victory. They all got some good spots in. They all came out looking stronger than they did before. So they are the dominant team in AEW now.
Yeah.
Dominant faction, I should say.
And my final thought, focus on the other guys in the Pinnacle.
Yeah.
I mean, we went off air focused on MJF because he threw Jericho off the top of the cage.
They're doing that on purpose. He's the next big thing.
Yeah, I know that, but you gotta give credit where
He's
credit's
He's
due.
the Flair. Flair still at the end of the day got all the glory. So
And still gets
Triple
the
H.
commercials.
Triple H of the of Evolution got all the glory at the end of the day. There's always that one. Jericho for an Inner Circle
Yeah.
gets all the glory. There is that. But I get what you're saying. But no, I'm looking forward to next week's Dynamite. Should be fun. No Hangman tonight. No Dark Order tonight.
Nope. Very good move keeping them off of TV.
Is it just me or is the Dark Order? I enjoy their BTE bit still, but are they starting to lose it a little bit on Dynamite? I feel like they just don't win matches anymore.
Yep. They
That might be by design.
Yeah. They need the Exalted One or someone of that caliber. And maybe that's where this is all going. They're losing more and more. The only wins 5 has is with 10. So I don't know. Maybe Silver comes back and they start winning again, but we'll see.
Yeah, and Hangman, I don't know where they go with him towards Double or Nothing.
I don't know. I think Hangman misses Double or Nothing somehow.
He could. That'd be a big start, but he could.
Unless there's, a big buy-in, get this, and you get a shot at the title next week.
Yeah, there should. There'll probably be a ladder match.
Yeah.
For the chip or whatever.
Yep.
Briefcase, whatever they do. So
just learn from your past mistakes, TK. Don't make him challenge within like 2 weeks of winning it.
Exactly. Build it a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, a month at least.
From then to September for All Out, and we have a couple of special Dynamites probably in between. So.
Yep. Save it for a special Dynamite, if nothing else. If you don't want to wait till All Out, do a special Dynamite.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Well, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Kicking Out Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel. You can watch all of our past live episodes on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Wherever you're listening to this podcast on, please hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That really helps us out a lot. And Paul, I'll let you close us out from here.
And with that, for Tanner Lee, I'm Paul Zartman. Join us again next week as we kick out another podcast.